Eclipse. Introduction. The JDT or Java Development Tools project provides the tool plugins that implement a Java IDE supporting the development of any Java application, including Eclipse plugins. It adds a Java project nature and Java perspective to the Eclipse workbench, as well as a number of views, editors, wizards, builders, and code merging and refactoring tools. The JDT project allows Eclipse to be a development environment for itself. Also, very wide plugins options are available for you to use and includes plugins for Struts framework, Spring, Hibernate, UML, and more. It requires a Java runtime environment for executing Java applications or a Java development kit for developing Java applications. There are many Eclipse IDE available like Helios, Juno, Indigo, and also you have Eclipse IDE for Java developers, for Java EE developers, mobile, and more. Choose the one that's closest to the target you're going to develop. For this tutorial, we're going to use Eclipse Helios 3.6 as R2. Once you have downloaded the zip file from eclipse.org, unzip the file in any folder you may choose and double-click over the eclipse.x file. This will open Eclipse. Here's the first screen in which Eclipse will ask you the location of the workspace folder. If you click on the checkbox to use this as the default and do not ask again, it would not prompt you again for this. You can choose any folder at all. Here's the Eclipse welcome screen. Once you close the welcome screen, you will see the following picture. This will show you Eclipse and the options you have available. At the upper right, where the A letter is, you have all the perspectives available. At the left, you have a view, in this case the Project Explorer. At the bottom, you have more views like markers, properties, servers, and more. Perspectives. Very useful layout. If a particular layout is really useful, someone gives that layout a name. And if a layout has a name, you can use the layout whenever you want. By default, the Java perspective certain views, and along with all the views, the Java perspective contains an editor area. Eclipse comes with 8 different perspectives, but these perspectives aren't cast in stone. You can change all kinds of things about an Eclipse perspective. Views. A part of the Eclipse workbench that displays information for you to browse. In the simplest case, a view fills up an area in the workbench. Many views displays information as lists of trees. You can use a view to make changes to things. When you use a view to change something, the change takes place immediately. Also, you can arrange views in any way you want. If you're working on a perspective and you want a specific view open, you can add a new view. Just go to the window menu and then show view. You can choose any view at all. Creating a Java project. Before creating a new project, just make sure to be on the Java perspective. Then go to the File menu and then Other. If you have the Java project option available, you can use that one. If not, and if you want to explore the options available, go to the Other option. If you chose the Other option, this is the window that you will be seeing. Here you can create several different projects. For example, a Java project, Java EE, and more. So choose the Java project this time. This is the main window to create the project. For the project name, we will be using tutorial ADV. If you configure your workspace folder properly, then use the default location is a good choice. Then you have to choose the JRE to use, and then the most recommended is the execution environment JRE. Almost at the end, there's the project layout. This will allow you to have the .java files in a separate folder from the .class files. Click on the Configure Default option to change the default configuration. On this window, you can change the default folder configuration. The most standard option is to use src as the source folder and classes as the output folder. Although you can have any folders at all, this is the most used configuration. Here's the next window in which you can review what you have done so far. Once you click on the Finish button, it will show you this window. Now, on the Package Explorer view, you will see your project created with the src folder. The classes folder is not being shown because that's where the .class files are. You only need access to the source folder, although you can open the Windows Explorer and look the folder's content. Creating packages and classes. If you want to create a package, just right-click over the source folder, src, and go to the New and then Package. This will open a window in which you can write the package name. For this tutorial, we will be using the Java coding standards, so the package name must be in lowercase letters. To create a new Java class, just choose the package in which the class will be and then right-click over the package. Go to the New and then Class. This will open a window for you to write the class information. The first thing when creating a class is the name. Once again, because we're using the Java coding standards, the class name must be with the first letter of each interval word capitalized. Then, which modifier the Java class will have. For now, it will be public. Then, check the first checkbox, which create a main method to be able to run the class. After this, just click on the Finish button. Once the class is created, it will be open on the editor of Eclipse. Now, let's add new code to run the file. Here's the class created and the main method. Just type the line shown on the slide. This will print a Hello World message on the console view in Eclipse. To run the file, just right-click on the editor or over the class name on the Package Explorer. Go to Run and then Run As, and then Java Application. This will show the message on the console view. Execute the following exercise. Next, you will see a video of what we have done. Eclipse configurations. Here you have some of the shortcuts used by Eclipse to improve the coding of the developers. They're very useful because it will give you independence from your mouse and improve your coding. On Eclipse, you can configure many other things as well, and other important are the code formatter and the code templates. The code formatter will be the responsible of formatting your Java code, and on a team environment is a must. The code template is more focused on comments configured for your Java files, as long as other files as well. Also, these configurations could be exported and imported. You can choose to have these configurations for Eclipse or for a specific project. Java Code Formatter. In order to change the behavior of the code formatter, you can do it for Eclipse in general or for a specific project. Let's do it for the project. Right-click over your project and then go to Properties. Then look at the Java Code Style option, and inside this option there's the formatter. Once you click on the formatter option, it will show you a window like the one showed on the slide. Click on the Enable Project Specific Settings checkbox, so it will be enabled the Active Profile dropdown. All the built-in profiles are not modifiable, so in order to be able to modify some of the profiles, you must create a new one based on a specific profile. Just click on the New button, write a name, and choose the profile from which yours will be based on. After that, go to the Edit button. If you click on the Edit button, this will be the window in which you can modify the behavior of the code formatter. Here, you can define things like the tab size, brackets position, control statements, and more. Once again, try to follow the Java coding standards. One thing about this formatter is that you can export this configuration for your teammates. This will give you the advantage to have the same formatter for all your team members, and when using code repository, mix the code is easiest. When exporting this configuration, it will be on an XML file. To import this XML file into Eclipse, just click on the Import button. Java Code Templates. Once again, this could be set for Eclipse in general or for a specific project. This is more likely to have a specific project configurations, but it all depends on how you want to set your Eclipse IDE. Right-click over your project and go to the Properties option. Then go to the Java Code Style option and then to the Code Templates option. This will open the window shown on the slide. Check the Enable Project Specific Settings checkbox so you can edit the templates for all your files. This can be modified right away. The purpose here is to modify the additional comments that will be shown when creating a new Java file, for example. Also, you have for constructors, methods, and more. Change those that you may need for your project. For this example, click on the Types option under the Comments option. Click on the Edit button. The window on the left is what you already have by default, and the window on the right is the proposed change. This is the comment that will be written by Eclipse every time you create a new Java file. Add the new comments and variables proposed and press the OK button. Notice that this configuration could be also exported so every team member can have the same. In order to test what we have done, open the main class you have created previously and insert a comment above the class definition. Remember, this is made with a / and 2 asterisks. Press Enter after adding those three characters, and Eclipse automatically will add the comment with the elements you have inserted when editing the template. Check the following exercise. If you want to change some of the default configurations on Eclipse, including the previously reviewed, then go to the Window menu, the Preferences option. Here you have all the general options of Eclipse. Export/import options. On Eclipse, you have export and import options for your project. Although there are a lot of options, the tutorial will be focused on jar file export, runnable jar file export, and import an existing project into Eclipse. Jar file export. One of the most used export options is to export your project into a single jar file. The acronym JAR stands for Java Archive. A jar file can include all the files you want, but the common option is to export everything but the .java files. Once the jar is generated, you can execute this file using the command line and the Java command. To export your project into a jar file, right-click over your project and then click on the Export option. Go to the Java folder and choose jar file. Here, the window that you'll be seeing after you have clicked on the Export option. As you can see, there are a lot of export options. Click on the next button. On this next window, you can choose what to include on the jar file. By default, the Java files are not included on the jar file, but if you want to, then you have to click on the Export Java Source Files and Resources checkbox. Then you have to choose where the jar file will be generated and the name. Remember to include the jar extension. Just click on the Finish button and the file will be generated. Jar Runnable File Export. This option is pretty much like the one before, but with the difference that this jar file has a file inside that tells the Java command how to execute the project inside the file. The file is the manifest.mf. On Windows systems, you can double-click over the file and it will run your application. Go to the same steps as when exporting the jar file, but this time select Runnable Jar File. Here, you have to choose the launch configuration to be used. This is the Java class that has a main method and it will be executed by default. On a general project, it should be only one. In order to have options on this drop-down, you have to run the Java class at least once. Then, the folder and name of the jar file. Regarding the library handling, you have three options available. Any of these are good options, but the most used is the third one, and it is to have the additional jar files used on your project on a separate folder next to your jar. At the end, there is an option to save this configuration as an end script. This will become very useful later, so you can execute this again without doing this procedure again. Eclipse has the ability to execute end scripts. This will be discussed later. Click on the Finish button. Import options. Also, as the export options available, you have import options available as well. You can import a jar file to run the project, but if you included the source files into the jar file, Eclipse will import the Java files and you will have access to the source code of the application exported. Also, you can import a previously configured project into Eclipse, selecting the folder in which the project is stored. To import a project into the Eclipse workspace, just go to the File menu and then go to the Import option. Choose the option that matches with the way your project was exported. Check the exercise. Code generation and code refactoring. Code generation. One of the things that almost every decent IDE has is the code generation. This has several behaviors, but one of the most used is the ability to generate the getter and setter methods. To see the process, create a new Java class named person and add two attributes, name and last name. Both attributes will be string and private. Here on the slide you have how your class will look like. Because the attributes are private, which is very common, file access methods should be generated. These are the getter setter methods. Go to the source menu and then the generate getters and setters option. A window will be shown in which you can select which methods create for each attribute and the access modifier as well. If you're going to create for all the attributes the getter and setter methods, just click on the Select All option. Here you can see how the person class will look like with the two attributes and the getter setter methods. Also, as an additional addition, now the Eclipse editor shows the line numbers. Just right click over the gray left bar and you will see the Show Line Numbers option. Code refactoring. This is one of the things that help you in developing your application. Even if you have a design of your application, change the methods names, attributes is a need that every developer has. That's where the Eclipse code refactoring comes in place. If you want to change the name of a method, attribute or class, you can do it through Eclipse. Take a look at the example. Change the main class previously made and add the new lines proposed here. Open the person class and go to the getName method. Now go to the refactor menu and then the rename option. This will let you to write the new name of the method, and every reference to this method will be changed as well. Also, you can apply this with member variables or local variables on a method. External jar libraries. Almost every time an application is being developed, it comes the need for using components ready to use on the web, like for example the Jakarta common libraries. So if you want to use these components on your application, you must include it in a proper way. Download the file proposed on the slide. Follow these instructions in order to include the jar file into your project. To keep everything organized, you have to create a new folder called lib, in which you'll be including all the jar files your project needs. If you follow the steps proposed before, you'll be seeing a window like the one shown here. This is where all your jar or project's references will be. Also, if you notice, there's the Java version your project is using. Plugins Installation Marketplace. One of the major benefits about Eclipse is the plugins available. There are a lot of options and the choice will be based on the application needs. Eclipse has plugins for SVN administration, mailing support, Maven and more. Before downloading a plugin, you have to take care of the Eclipse version because not all the plugins work for all the Eclipse versions. For example, a plugin can work for Eclipse Helios but not for Eclipse Juno. In order to install a new plugin, is using the plugins URL. go to the Help menu and then Install New Software option. This will open a window in which you can paste the URL, and Eclipse will list all the options that the plugin has. Just check those tools you want from the plugin and click on the next button until finished. Execute the following exercise. If you have any doubts, take a look at the next video. Eclipse Marketplace. The Eclipse Marketplace is a different way to install a plugin. Just go to the Help menu and then the Eclipse Marketplace option. Also, you can check what's the plugin about and the license under which the plugin is being released. Servers configuration. Apache Tomcat configuration. On Eclipse, it can be configured servers, for example Tomcat, and you can manipulate Tomcat from Eclipse, all the tasks associated like start, stop, and publish your project into the server. Let's take a look. First, you have to open the server's view. Go to the window menu, then show view, and then choose servers. Then over that view, right click and go to the new option, and then click on the server option. On this window, you can choose which server you want to configure. Remember to be accurate on the version because it's not the same. Choose Tomcat version 6.0 server, which is the one you installed previously. Here, you have to indicate the folder in which you have installed Tomcat 6. Also, you must indicate which JRE is going to be used. If you did everything right, then the server configured should be shown in the server's view. There you can start the server, stop the server, and publish your project. Oracle WebLogic configuration. To configure Oracle WebLogic on Eclipse is almost the same process as before, but in this case, this server is not available by default in Eclipse, so you have to download the definition. Take a look at the video. Once the server is installed on Eclipse, you can proceed with the server configuration on the server's view. Once again, right-click over the view, go to the New option and then Server. Find the Oracle WebLogic Server 11G R1 definition and click the Next button. We're using this version because it's the one installed before. On this window, you have to select the folder in which the WebLogic was installed. The Java Home definition should be loaded once you select the WebLogic Home folder. Notice the folder that you have to select in order to Eclipse load the right configuration. Now you have to configure the domain definition for WebLogic. If you click on the icon at the right side of the window next to the domain directory text field, it should show you a pop-up menu with the options showed on the slide. Under the Known Domains options, it should be the base domain option. If not, then something was not configured right. Once you click on the base domain option, it should show you a window like the one here. Just click on the Finish button. Now the server should be on the server's view. Once again, you can start and stop the server and also publish your project on the server. IBM WebSphere configuration. To configure the WebSphere application server is very much like the one described for the Oracle WebLogic. For this server, you have to download on Eclipse the server definition because it does not come with Eclipse. Here's the window that will be shown once you click on the Download Additional Server Adapters option on Eclipse. Choose the WASCE version 3.0 server adapter assembly. This is the version we have installed previously. Once again, click on the New Server option on the server's view. Find the IBM WASCE 3.0 server and click on the Next button. Here, you have to select the JRE to use and the folder in which the WebSphere was installed. Notice the folder you have to select. Here you have to configure the host name in which the server was installed and also the administrator ID and password. Again, on the server's view, you should be seeing the server configured. Creating Java EE projects. To create a new Java EE project, go to the File menu, then the New option, and then the Other option. Find the web folder and under it, there's the Dynamic Web Project option. On this next screen, you have to select the name of the project, the location folder, and the target runtime. This is the server previously configured in which you'll be deploying your project. For the purposes of this tutorial, Oracle WebLogic will be used. The Dynamic Web Module version should be 2.5, which is the higher version definition for this version of the server. Regarding the configuration, use the default configuration of the Oracle WebLogic. This next screen will allow you to define the source folder and the class folder. Here you have to define the context root of your application. This is how your project will be accessed. This name will be a part of the URL for accessing your web project. For this tutorial, it will be used TEE. Also, you have to configure the name in which all the web files will be stored. These are files like the JSP, HTML pages, CSS files, and more. Remember to check the Generate Web.xml Deployment Descriptor checkbox. Once you have clicked on the Finish button, your project must look like the one shown here on the slide. You have the source folder in which all the Java files will be, the build folder in which the compiled classes will be, and the web content folder in which all the web files will be, including the web.xml deployment descriptor.